This episode of My So-Called Podcast, we are going back to March 23rd, 1990.
When Depeche Mode violated us with Violator, and Garry Marshal violated us with Pretty Woman.
Hey, welcome to My So-Called Podcast. I'm Gary Linton.
And I'm Eric Speigel.
Hey, happy Galentine's Day, Eric.
Hey, happy Valentine's Day to you.
I said Galentine.
What's that mean?
Oh, no, it's okay.
Is that a thing?
It's a park and recreation reference.
I think Alicia and I are about 14 seasons behind on that show.
But we really like it.
Oh, good. Okay.
What was the little pony?
Sebastian.
Yeah,
Little Sebastian. Welcome to your Parks and Recs podcast.
So anyway, we're going back to March 23rd, 1990.
Yep.
Obviously, Pretty Woman came out, and so did Violator.
Okay.
By Depeche Mode.
Yep, they came out the same week, because that's what we do on this podcast.
We go back to a week in the 90s.
Yep.
We revisit something that came out and something else that came out that week. That's the deal.
Yep.
Gary, sometimes we have guests.
Yes, we do. We have guests.
This week
Wait.
Eric,
I got you a Valentine. Open it up.
Oh, okay.
This is some good improv. And out pops our guest.
Oh!
Wow.
First Valentine's Day
Kind of
present
tight in there.
is friend of the show, Banan.
Hi, thanks.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, Banan, how old were
letting me out of the
you
box.
when you first saw Pretty Woman?
I might have been 12, 13. It was back in the day.
Back
We used to
in
have
the day.
cable.
Right.
So, yeah.
And Gary, I got you this Valentine's Day
Oh,
present.
okay. Thanks. Let me open it.
It's our second guest.
Nice.
Who's that?
It's Alicia Speigel. Third time on the podcast?
I think that's right.
Maybe fourth.
I think third.
With
go with
best
that.
ofs. Sure. Welcome.
Thank you.
Am I asking Alicia when the first time she heard Violator was?
That's a personal question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Ask her.
Alicia.
Is this supposed to be not a personal pod? This is a personal podcast.
All right, I'll answer the question because
Thank
I
you.
like you so much, Gary.
Oh, golly. I'm blushing.
Except, what was it exactly? Did I hear it right when it came out?
Well, yeah. When was the first time?
When did you first hear it?
Yeah.
Do people usually know the answer to that
No,
question?
not,
I
not
wasn't
for
like standing
album.
in line at
Yeah.
Street Side or
Not
anything.
for the album.
I mean, I was a little bit aware of Depeche Mode. I was 11, and basically in my mind, it was like a band that I liked, but I didn't have any of their stuff, and the cool older kids.
Okay.
I would hear from them every once in a while.
Cool.
Like who?
Well, let's wait to talk
Was
about
that,
Depeche Mode after.
Karen's older brother?
No, they weren't in Depeche Mode. That was more like heavy metal type stuff.
Oh, okay.
Guns N' Roses.
All right. So
Supertramp.
we're talking about 1990 here.
Yep.
Early 1990.
Yeah. Early March.
That's early
Yes.
1990.
The third month.
First quarter.
Yeah. So Gary,
So, Eric.
should we get in a little bit of a 1990
You're not gonna break
mindset?
Yes, we should. Is this my trivia card?
That is
Okay.
Right now it's 16-12 me,
Okay.
and that means you ask first.
Okay. What? To our guest, if Eric needs help him. If I need help,
Oh yeah,
help
that's
me,
the way it
please.
works. It's a game between Gary and I. The guests can either help or hinder anyone based on their preference for our personalities.
I think we're familiar.
Yeah, I remember. I think I know how to do this.
Yeah, you guys are in play at all times.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. What was the longest running musical left purring on Broadway when the chorus line finally ran down in 1990?
Puss in Boots?
I think so.
That's it.
I'm gonna go with Cats.
Yeah, memory, right? Is that Cats?
That's it,
too
memories,
easy.
That was a horrible
You thought it was too easy?
Yeah, I thought it was Cats before the purr.
I was hoping it was a trick.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping they wouldn't give me such a hint. But
Yeah, I was too.
It's an insult to your intelligence.
Yeah.
I watched this. I saw this thing on Twitter where this guy explained his reaction of watching Cats all the way through.
Oh yeah.
That's a terrible musical.
God bless Twitter.
Good, but but what I really feel about what just happened is
Okay.
That I got a
you feel
point.
ding.
Yeah. So that show is about introducing
It's about
a
cats.
long series of cats, but one cat is gonna die and go to heaven, maybe.
A cat, Jesus.
Oh,
What?
Yeah,
I've never seen
I
this
saw
musical.
it on Broadway,
Never.
but I was not
it's
paying attention.
horrible.
No,
In-
and which is
in
why I don't.
1990.
It's
Yeah.
the worst.
Yeah, it's
We used to go to the Muni in the summertime and watch musicals and watch the free ones. And
they're all
Cats
free.
was like, here's
They're
a
all
song, here's
In
a
a certain
song,
section.
here's a song. And I was like, oh, there's a lot of songs to begin this musical. When's the story going to happen? And it's like 3 hours later, still songs about and sung by cats.
Yeah.
The end.
I think I like
Boo.
a couple of the songs, but I've heard the same thing. There's no story. It's about cats. I don't care. So there was no.
I don't understand
Need
why
to see
that
this.
was such a
Yeah.
hit.
You
Sir
probably made
Andrew
the right
Lloyd
choice.
Webber.
You got a question for me, Gary?
No, I'd like my first question, please, Eric.
Okay.
He's always screwing up the trivia.
What phrase
That's
does
why
a
you're winning.
fast typing cyber chatter shorten to IMHO?
That's in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Ding.
That's correct.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and keep going with these chat room questions.
I'm definitely a very young girl,
Okay, yeah.
not a 40-year-old man, and I would like to talk with you about my little girl
This
life,
one's
Gary.
dumb. I can't believe I'm going to give it to you, but okay. What does a chat rumor mean by signing off with the shorthand CUL8?
No way.
Exactly. Did you pick the
Wait,
easiest
I
question?
think you're supposed to say at least L8R, Gary, not
Oh, you're right. You're right.
See you later?
Yeah, let's see.
That's
See
why
you
you're
later.
the doctor.
All right.
You and I could have done that.
Hey, Gary.
Gotta
But
have
you
the
didn't.
sounds.
No.
What?
I said ding very quietly.
What quirky TV series featured an
Quirky.
FBI agent who liked his coffee black as the midnight without a moonlight?
I think this has to do with a show that's been rebooted. Right. No, it's been rebooted lately, right? So I'm going to go with The X-Files. No, Twin Peaks. Yeah,
That's correct.
that's right. Thanks, gals.
Hey,
You didn't
you.
need us.
No.
You didn't need us.
I feel like they don't need us for any of these.
We do.
These are perfect questions.
In your humble opinion.
I am HO.
Yeah.
What comic chose to honor Working Women's Night at a Padre game by mangling the national anthem, spitting, and grabbing
oh, I know who this is.
his/her crotch?
This is
No,
going
it
to be
just
Roseanne Barr.
says her crotch.
So what did she do?
She
spit?
sang it
She...
terribly. She
Right.
like yelled
That's
it
like
out.
how she talks.
Yeah.
Yep. She's working class.
She
And that was
is
supposed
Don't
to do
insult the
honor
working.
to women somehow?
What comic chose to honor Working Women's Night? It was Working Women's Night.
Oh.
She's a working woman, Roseanne
Yep.
was. All right.
Do you get a ding?
What did she
Yeah,
do
you
these
should get a
days?
ding.
My
Didn't she have a farm or something?
Listen up, guys.
I don't know, but I have a story about Roseanne Barr.
I want to hear it. I need to hear this.
Yep. See, she's just screaming it.
And then they
She
booed
just
her.
doesn't know how to sing.
That could be it.
That might be it, but she did a terrible job.
Eric, I got another question coming my way.
So Roseanne
Banana-
Barr went off on my sister on Twitter once.
Oh.
Yeah.
Alicia, I appreciate you standing up and covering your heart for this. But
You're very patriotic.
exactly.
I'm just praying like hell that Eric doesn't show this to our children.
Yeah. We
Do you have another question?
Yeah, we can get the podcast going, Eric.
No, everybody, it's almost over.
Oh.
I feel like they're booing you now.
Oh, she's doing that on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's a comedian. Maybe she was trying to be funny. But she was trying to be funny.
Yeah. Nobody's laughing.
No.
Because you can't disrespect America by disrespecting the national anthem.
Yeah.
Okay, I think you're going to need to
Kneel.
call
to-
in all the troops here.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
What two NFL teams
That's your
picked
banana.
up a 5th Super Bowl win in the 90s?
It's the
Dallas.
Cowboys, yeah.
49ers.
Oh, maybe it
I
is
think
the
those
49ers.
are football teams, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, do you think it's someone else?
Well, I was thinking maybe the Steelers, but maybe that
No,
wasn't
I
in the
think that
90s.
was-
Guys, pay attention. Alicia just weighed in.
Yeah,
She
said
thinks those are football
teams.
teams.
Yeah, we'll go with Cowboys and 49ers.
Oh, you have to come up with both?
Yeah.
No? Is that not it?
Is Dallas one of them? Is this?
There's,
I don't know
like,
what
the
he's
Dolphins.
doing. He's gone. Oh, the Dolphins. Good
Yeah, it
call.
could have been the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I don't think they won in the 90s.
You got it right. You got
Thank
both
you.
of them.
Yeah. Is that
Nice
2 points?
work, guys.
2 points.
So,
Proud of you.
What's that, 2 points?
Yeah, I think that's 2 points. Yay.
Eric's
did I
writing down
get
2
2 or
points.
3?
You got all 3.
Do I get some points too?
Because it was
Yep.
the
'Cause
easiest
I'm a girl.
card.
You get 10
You can
points.
have,
And I know
You
football.
can have a little bit of Gary's steak
Yep.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Whenever Eric.
eventually.
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 Caves in.
Maybe tuna
Yeah.
steaks. Like,
Top 10
let's make it different.
singles.
Okay, we got the top 10 singles. U.S. Top 40 singles for the week ending March 24th, 1990. Number 10, Get Up. Parentheses, Before the Night is Over.
Okay.
What?
By Technotronic.
Oh yeah, you remember that one?
Technotronic.
Pump up the jam.
That's
Hey,
not that song.
Oh,
No.
shoot.
I think it's
Push it.
get up
Everybody move your feet.
before the night is over.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Okay.
Or get up.
I'm going to listen to it after
okay.
the
I have
podcast.
no idea what it is,
Yeah, it
but
should
I have
all
a feeling
happen-
Eric is looking for it.
After the
he is.
podcast.
It goes like this.
Yeah, that's it.
Don't.
Oh, that's a good song. Maybe it could be on my workout list.
This was like at every pep assembly, wasn't it?
It was on
We
what?
didn't go to the same high school. So
Oh, no. We were North County.
So the number 9 song is called Keep It Together.
You gotta
By
turn that music off. We don't wanna
Madonna?
pay for it.
Madonna?
Oh, okay. Keep It Together by Madonna.
All right, let's just skip
I
that
don't know
one.
that one.
Number 8, I Go to Extremes by Billy Joel. So that would be the third single from the Stormfront.
Stormfront.
Yeah.
What's
Oh,
Stormfront?
I know I
the name of the
don't
album?
know
Yeah.
why I go to extremes.
We didn't start the fire. Was on
Too
that album.
high or too low, there ain't no
Are you playing the
in
piano?
I am playing the piano.
Oh, he is the
Banana's
piano
playing
man.
the piano.
Ding, ding, ding.
Tinkle,
Number
tinkle,
7,
tinkle.
Good. I'm not.
All Around the World by Lisa Stansfield.
Okay.
I kind of thought she was cute.
She's
Oh, and
totes
that's like, I can't
adorbs.
find my baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Wait,
That's
That
it.
was me singing, so I hope you heard
She
it.
can't
Oh, I
find her
heard-
baby.
black and white.
It was
I feel
about the
like black and white.
Lindbergh. It was about the Lindbergh kidnapping.
That's not
Oh,
funny,
that's
Gary.
sad, actually.
Oh, you're right. It's not.
Boo.
People come in here for
It goes
jokes.
like,
Where is the baby?
But I'll find it somewhere.
Somebody kidnapped my baby.
I've got to let him know how much I care.
I got a song. I got a story about this song.
Well,
Get us
there,
to the good
everybody,
part.
everybody gather around. Eric has a story.
Okay, now we get it.
Yeah, actually, now
Okay,
Thanks.
so
Thanks for that.
I was at National with my mom.
the grocery.
store?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Is it national or nationals?
National.
National.
Okay.
And
Only one.
we were shopping for groceries, as you do.
I shop for groceries.
And,
Grocery
anyway,
or groceries?
I don't
so
shop. I
Lisa
buy
Stansfield
groceries.
was on the overhead.
Window shopping.
I just take it.
That's right.
Sorry.
That's called looting.
Well, only if you break the window.
Oh.
I think you have to.
I think it's actually only looting if you're black.
Oh,
So I was going to say that, but I didn't want to go there. But the white guy did.
Yeah,
that's the
white privilege.
That's privilege.
Privilege.
White privilege. Anyway,
I don't like where this podcast.
so I'm walking down
National.
the grocery store aisle with my mom, and Lisa Stansfield's on the the
terrible.
Muzak basically at National, and I was kind of singing along with it.
Oh my gosh.
And there was a girl that worked at National in her National outfit, and she was sort of stocking cans, and she noticed I was singing along, and we had a nice little conversation when I was 15 about Lisa Stansfield. She's like, I used to love her. And I was like, yeah, she's good. And she was like, she had that little mod haircut, and I was like, I love you.
And then you married her.
and then I
that
just
you?
I never worked at National.
and then I just
Who was
kept
this woman?
shopping with my mom. That's the
I don't
end
know.
of this. The end of the story is kind of a downer.
Was it down
well,
there?
what would be the alternative? Like you ran away with her,
Yeah.
holding hands?
We stole a car from the parking lot and drive west. Anyway, number
with you.
Got some
6.
steak for his
I know what you
future
shop for.
trivia.
I'll Be Your Everything by Tommy Page.
Okay.
I know
Anyone?
this.
Tommy Page.
I know you're gonna.
Yeah, you're gonna
remind
play it
me
anyway.
here, and
Yeah,
I'm gonna- No, I meant like I'm gonna know when you play it.
yeah. But play
But we
it.
probably don't need to hear every song on the list.
we do
Well, the
not.
ones we don't
we
know.
There's no probably about it. We do not need to hear everything.
Oh yeah. This sounds like Alf or something.
Yeah, that's some smooth
Yeah,
jazz.
Little known fact is that Tommy Page was the composer of the theme song to Alf.
And he did the puppet.
Number 6. No, that was Tommy Page. Number 5, I Wish It Would Rain Down by Phil Collins.
Oh, we know that. We know that.
That's Eric
Did you know
Clapton
that
on
story
guitar.
about Phil Collins was at summer camp?
Yes, I heard about that.
He heard
He
someone-
looked out into the ocean or the lake.
And he saw that someone was drowning.
That's a different
Yeah.
song.
No, it's. I think it's also that about.
I Wish It Would Rain Down on that murderer.
Yeah. And he
Number-
invited the guy to a concert.
And at that point, all the lights like
The
shined
lights
down,
came up and he
the
pointed to him.
And the
I
police
saw what
stormed
you did.
That's right.
You used the concert as a way to trap the murderer.
Instead of calling the police.
That is
Just
totally
desserts.
something that happened.
Yep.
Number 4 is Rome by the B-52s.
Oh, yeah,
Their
that's a
follow-up
good
to
song.
Love Shack.
Yep. It was.
Same album. What was that album?
Cosmic thing.
Maybe.
No, maybe about it. Cosmic thing.
Number 3, Escapade by Janet Jackson.
That's about that. The Cadillac.
Get away. It's about the,
The
yeah.
escapade.
Yep.
The SUV.
on an
I
escapade.
mean, drive
This
my
is
Escalade.
this top few are huge. Number 2, Love will lead you back
Let's.
Who's
by
that?
Taylor Dane.
I never did
And I-
like her.
Hi,
Hi.
my name is Tig, and I just have to tell you
Yeah,
that I love your voice.
it's good.
I like Tig
He's
Notaro.
doing a Tig Notaro bit.
Number 1,
I can't wait.
Alana Miles with her hit
Black Velvet.
Black Velvet. If
I
you
don't know that name. But
I don't
yes,
know the
I know
name
that
either.
song.
Yeah, I knew it.
Now I
You're
know.
good.
Well, thanks. I
This
should
is-
have
you
a
should've-
podcast.
Yeah, you should about the
Alana
90s.
Miles?
You should have a
Alana
so-called
Miles.
podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
All
All
Maybe
right.
it's trivia night sometime.
Ladies,
Yeah.
thanks for being on the podcast.
All right.
We're going to talk about Violator now. And either Violator is just the...
Which one are you asking?
I'm asking both.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea, I
I like
think.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
You
right.
can, whoever
Yeah.
wants to
We
take
feel
it first.
stronger together.
I feel like that's true.
Hashtag stronger together.
I gotta try to figure out how I want to
Hashtag
answer this or ask this question.
Power
So
to us.
either Violator is just the singles that were released. There were 4 singles off of it, or it's a good album as a whole. Oh, before do we listen to the bonus tracks? Are we talking the bonus tracks?
No.
Nah.
I was very confused by which one of the Violators I was listening to.
I think it's
The
track
bonus.
1 through 9
Let's
is
say
what
no.
we're discussing.
Yeah, 1
Yeah,
through 9
let's
is
not-
what
yeah.
I heard.
Yeah.
Because I
It's
had
clean.
Clean.
that
Yes.
is one of it's
Yes.
I think the last one.
It
Yes,
was,
it is.
yes.
Kind of a short
Okay.
album.
It is a short album, so yeah. So
Except the
9
songs
tracks,
are long.
4 singles.
Is that your question?
Yeah, either
Were the songs short or long?
either the
Either
short
or.
songs are short or they're kind of long.
Wow, Gary. That's
Yeah.
very thought provoking.
What say you?
Okay, so your question is this album anything besides
The
the
singles.
singles?
Yeah.
And the 4
Or-
singles were
I feel like I want to be a nice person and not answer that question.
Okay.
Oh.
That's cool.
No,
That's
no,
cool.
no. You go ahead, Banan.
so I listened to this album for the first time last week.
Oh,
You
okay.
had never
Whoa.
heard-
I'd never and I actually was
What?
like, what who I knew of
Who's
Depeche
Depeche
Mode,
Yeah.
but I didn't know this album at all.
Wait, wait,
But
wait,
you
wait.
did then, right?
But then I listened to the album and I'm like, oh, I know a
Yeah.
couple of these songs.
Yeah, okay.
This one's the
Okay.
one that Johnny Cash sings.
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew that
He
one.
does it for the money. Did you like that joke? No. Okay.
But I think I know. So there's
I like all your jokes, Gary.
Go on, Benny.
Go ahead, Scholar.
I like the album as a whole.
Yeah.
There are definitely a few songs.
Like Blue Dress?
I feel like we're getting close to like rating
liked
it
it.
already.
Well,
with
no, we
this.
can talk about
So
it.
it's an either or. You just have to pick. You think it's a few good singles or a good album. Either or.
I think that there are 3 songs that are really, 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 really good. And the other ones might grow on me, but I would never listen to them again.
And were
on
those 3
purpose.
songs the singles?
Yes.
Number 3,
Yes.
number 6, number 7.
3,
Yep.
6, and 7. Yeah.
What about The World in My Eyes? That's a good
No.
song.
I actually
Let
that
me
grew on me a
show you
little.
the world in my eyes, Gary.
Yeah.
It grew on me a little.
I'd
I listened
like
to
to
the
have
album like 4
sex with
times
you.
today.
Uh-huh.
And the
4 times.
maybe the 3rd or 4th time I heard World in My Eyes, I liked it better than when I first started.
I think Clean's pretty good.
no, that's my
the
least
problem
favorite.
with Clean
Or
is
one of my least favorites.
I just want to listen to Pink Floyd's One of These Days because that's the
Is
same.
that about getting sober?
No, it's the same kind of bass line though. They kind
It's
of stole.
inspired by that song. I think they
Yeah,
give them credit, right?
inspired. I see
Oh,
those
really?
air quotes.
That's
Did they have to
kinda
give
cool.
because it's very similar.
Okay, I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to check that out.
So
Sweetest Perfection? You guys don't feel like that fits in there? with good stuff?
no.
it's
The
thought Halo was all right.
I liked Halo.
No, I thought Sweetest Perfection was
Yeah,
really irritating.
yeah, it was
So
way too repetitive. And a lot of these songs for me, they could have been cut short like by 30 seconds to a
So
minute
you
and
think
a
the
half.
songs were too long?
For most
Yeah.
of them, yeah. The songs other than the singles, and then even the singles, like when you have, is it Enjoy the Silence?
Which is the
yeah,
best
it's
song.
the best.
Which
song.
is-
Enjoy
which
the
is-
No,
Silence.
I don't know. Policy of Truth is really good.
That's a good song.
Well, you know what? I think the current administration should have a policy of truth.
I was worried that was going
I
to
think
come up.
we should all enjoy the silence if they shut up.
And they should talk to their personal Jesus.
I think
Pick
Mike
up the
Pence already
receiver
does
and
that,
make
and
you
it's
a
not
believer.
working out for us. Yeah,
Hello.
that's Halo. Maybe if we could get Beyonce to smack some sense into these bitches.
Eric,
So I listened to the remastered version. Was
I
that
listened
very
to that
close
and
to
then I
the?
switched.
The
Original?
remastered version on Spotify includes quite a few extra tracks.
No, and I listened to it on Amazon Music, and it included those like additional 6 tracks that you're talking about.
which are mostly instrumental.
When I listened to it the first time through and didn't realize that those were like added, so I just did not like this album. So I'm glad that was not a part of total album.
Yeah, I listened to it and I was like,
the deal
oh, there's
with
a real
bonus
dead
tracks?
space at the end of this album. And then I was like, oh yeah, those aren't actually on this
Those
album.
aren't actually,
It's 9 songs, and I think the 9 songs are pretty solid. The singles are the good songs.
Right. I didn't mean to totally trash the other songs.
Non-singles
but
are
the
not
really good
bad.
ones are really good.
The way I experienced this album in total was that our friend Brian would put it on a lot when we were hanging out or playing board games or whatever, and it's a nice mood piece. It all fits together. Yeah, in college.
Yeah.
When I was 12, Personal Jesus was a song I knew, but I was too young to know who sang anything at that point. I was just like, that's a song, you know? And then it was only like many years later that I kind of put it together that that this band sang that song. It wasn't until college that I owned a Depeche Mode album, but that was because you
was
owned
it the Songs of Faith and Devotion?
You owned Songs of Faith and Devotion and let me borrow it, and I liked it so much that I bought it.
That just can't get enough.
I was going to say that I knew that song. I watched the documentary today, or one of them, Dark Progression, I think it's called. And yeah, that Just Can't Get Enough song, I didn't know that was Depeche
their
Mode.
best song.
Oh, you think so?
say,
It's a really good song,
That's
but
not on
I don't
that
want to
album.
put it in.
No, it may not be.
No, it's not. It's one of their first albums, maybe the first.
The Songs of Faith and Devotion was the one after this.
Yeah.
After
And
Violator.
I actually think that's a better album. But it's hard for me to say because that was my first one of theirs.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's 10 songs, and I like all of those a lot more than I like any of the songs on this album, even though I think some of them are great. But,
So you just think Songs of Faith and Devotion is a stronger album?
well, I like all of the songs on that. I like Get Right With Me a lot. I think it's my favorite Depeche Mode song.
Well, let's go back to the album we're talking about.
Sure, yeah. I hated Personal Jesus when I was 12.
Because you heard it too much, maybe?
Well, I
Because
was
you were a Catholic
also...
schoolboy.
There's that.
Yeah. Because you picked up the phone and nothing happened.
Exactly. I mean, reach out, touch face. What does that even mean?
It's Faith.
Oh,
I think you
Dude.
knew.
yeah, I knew.
I remember hearing that at the pool. That's
Yes,
kind
that's
of
kinda
how
what I
I
was
knew
thinking.
Personal Jesus. I was waiting in line for the diving board, and it was like, bang, bang, da, ding, ding, now.
I was hoping one of you guys could do the...
And that's Eric doing it, of course.
No, that was Banan.
Right.
You're welcome, everybody.
But yeah, Enjoy the Silence is the best song.
Yeah.
And
Wow,
Blue
we're
Dress,
all trying to throw down here.
it's nice that they wrote about that internet sensation.
That did not grab me at all. That
It's
song,
just a little
Blue Dress.
instrumental, isn't it?
Yeah.
What
Blue Dress.
Oh.
I don't think I really even noticed it. I probably thought it was part
Is
of another
it blue
song.
or is it gray?
Exactly.
They predicted the
blue.
future.
Is it white and gold?
Oh, yeah. It's
was white and
totally
gold.
No,
white
it was
and
blue
gold.
and
No,
Black.
Black.
blue and black. Yeah.
Well, if you
We
hold
have
it
to fight
one
about
way.
this.
Yeah, it's not the song about that.
So I would say my impression of this album was that it was their most popular and most critically acclaimed. And I think I'm right about the most popular piece, but I don't think that it was celebrated in its day.
No.
You think a lot of people, like we did, really got into it later on, a few years
Well,
later?
what'd they say on the
way later.
documentary that you watched?
I don't remember.
Oh,
Yeah, that's understandable since you watched it today.
While I was
hey,
cleaning
let's
our
not
house.
insult our guests.
Yeah.
So,
You need
what
time
do
to
you remember
process.
about
Yeah.
Violator from the documentary?
So much pressure.
Okay.
Well, where does this fit in their career? Does anyone know?
Kind of
No.
in the middle.
Okay, good.
I read a little bit of there were a lot of like looking back 25 years ago this album came out and it was great. So I guess it was a big album in their career.
Oh,
This
one
is-
thing I do remember.
It was their biggest album.
That's
as
what
far
I
as
get.
sales. And
Well,
the
right, yeah.
tour that
Personal
followed
Jesus
this
is
album
huge.
was their biggest tour.
Huge.
Yeah. And
Huge.
whenever they were recording it, from what I read on Wikipedia, they recorded Personal Jesus in Milan.
Ooh
And
la
they
la.
recorded a lot of it, the rest of it in Denmark.
And London.
They
and New
tried
York.
to...
They traveled with
They
this
tried
album.
to change the way they wrote the songs because they used to do a lot of pre-production stuff as far as like what the techno sounds would be. And this one they started with the vocals and the guitar and kind of added stuff later and let all the band members sort of experiment first. And so this was a change from what they had done before. This is their 7th studio album.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
They're
So
so
That's a little more than I have.
Just a couple more.
Yeah.
They're an interesting band because they follow more the, at least chronologically, the U2 pathway as far as they were big in the late 70s, throughout the 80s. They held on in the 90s, became big, and they're still touring. They still have albums.
Yeah.
But they're missing one of their...
Founding members.
No, he came on later. Alan Wilder.
Mm-hmm.
I know he came on later, and he's not part of the band anymore. I'm not sure what year he left, and I was very curious about why he would leave. And did you know that, what's his name? Vincent?
Vincent Vega.
No. Well, anyway, one of the founding members did leave, like after the first or second album, and right before they really started having a lot of fans and stuff. Yeah,
Like
but he
those-
was the one that really got them going. I didn't write his name down.
That's okay.
It's
One
okay.
of
It's like
the
those
things-
two ladies that were with Destiny's Child,
There you go.
and then they left.
You're
I
not
think-
talking about Kelly Rowland and
Michelle.
yeah.
No, it was the other two.
Oh, okay.
That's
there
I
should
have
be
to,
a documentary about that. I would watch it.
Yeah,
Say their name.
and
Say
then
their
forget
name.
all about it.
Yeah, exactly.
They're a survivor.
They needed to pay their bills.
So I had an experience listening to this where I was like, this is sort of like a little bit more mainstream sounding version of the Downward Spiral.
Yeah. Okay.
And I felt sort of crazy for thinking that.
Go on. How does that make you feel?
But now I feel vindicated because our friend Flood
Oh, yeah, he did produce
was
it.
the producer for The Joshua Tree, Pretty Hate Machine, Violator, Achtung Baby, Songs of Faith and Devotion, Broken, and Pretty Hate Machine. So, like, no,
No,
and
Downward Spiral.
And then Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, To Bringing
Yeah,
by
he was a
Love,
good
PJ
producer.
Harvey, Sneaker Pimps Becoming X. Like, that guy has produced a lot of good albums.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I wasn't crazy. I do think that this is
Not because of that.
a lot more, yeah, not for that reason.
Not for that reason.
I feel like this is a kind of a tamer Downward Spiral in a lot of ways. Like, it has some of the same noises, and
As
there's
far
a,
as making noises.
well, but there's also a darkness to this album that's,
Look, I'm
Yes,
Depeche Mode.
yes, yes,
Boop, beep,
yes.
boop, boop, boop.
I mean, I think that this album definitely goes there as far as, like, there's nothing sweet about any of the songs, really. Even if the lyrics are kind of sweet, it's sort of a negative, it's sort of a, at least the bad boy
Whoa.
is romancing you, you know?
The
kind of a
policy
deal.
of truth, that's very dark.
Yeah.
Well, it's just about cheating, you know.
So whenever I was growing up, people said that Personal Jesus was about phone sex.
Oh, really?
Yes.
They said that?
Is that right?
Did you guys
No, I
watch the
didn't-
video for that?
I've seen the video for Personal Jesus. Yeah,
Where it's like basically
he's
a
walking
like a
around.
saloon.
Yeah.
And there's
The
women that
cowboy
look
hat.
like
It's
they're
very cowboy.
probably
Yeah.
prostitutes. Yeah, but they
I
don't
mean,
try to make it
what
look
did
like
they, you know?
they don't try to make them look like it really was back in the day. It was interesting that they look like they're just singing the song at this
like
Wild
Westworld.
West saloon kind of thing. Yeah, Tandy Newton was
Yep,
there.
yep.
She was 7.
Wait, I think that's Stranger Things.
But there were a little bit of, I mean, maybe it's just because how old I was, but there was a thing about, like, a lot of these songs were, like, what were they about? Because Personal Jesus, somebody told me that was about phone sex, but then the world, what is it? There's
World
one of
in
them,
My
somebody told me one of them was about heroin.
Oh, sure.
And somebody told me one of the other ones about something else. I think the lyrics are pretty vague, so maybe you can just read into whatever you want. But they do sort of feel like something sort of romantic and sexy, but bad is going on. Almost all of them are that way.
Yeah, romantic was not the word when I was like looking this up just to kind of learn a little bit more about them. That wasn't the word that was being used, but it was definitely like
Sexy.
yeah,
Oh, really? I don't even see it as sexy.
or sex.
Well, it's a
without
good
the
thing
E.
we have this for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like The World in My Eyes is a song about sex.
Yeah, that's
For sure.
true.
And waiting for the night to fall.
Although I heard
So
that
we can
wasn't.
have sex.
Yeah.
I actually heard
And then-
that wasn't about sex or something. It was
Isn't-
about
Told
like
you that.
Isn't
Told you.
Halo about stop trying to be good
about a video
and
game.
let's be bad?
It's a video, you're right.
And
It's a
we're
video
all
game.
invading this alien planet with our laser guns.
Blue team and red team.
I didn't know there were aliens in that game. Is that a deal?
You haven't been spending enough time on Twitch.
I
Yeah.
guess not.
Alicia.
I'll have to rectify
Gosh.
that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have to say about Violator.
Well, so
Yep.
we have a rating system.
oh, we're already going there.
We like
Yeah,
to
let's
let
go
our
there.
guests
Okay.
go first.
Yeah.
Alicia should go first.
Do you guys know
4
what...
stars is, this album was rated 300 and something in the Rolling Stones best 500 albums of the
What?
90s.
Wait, say
So-
that again?
So Rolling Stones rated this album in their best 500 of the 90s, and it was in the 300s.
Right. So either it's in that hallowed, well-deserved classic status, that'd
Yeah.
be 4 stars. 3 stars would be like, you know what? It's good. It holds up. Things are good in Depeche Modesville. 2 stars is like, hey, hold up, little doggy.
You know what you should have did? Let's go. 4 stars are Allah. 3 stars are Jesus.
2 stars
Buddha.
are Buddha.
2 stars
Sorry.
Buddha, 1 star Satan.
No, I was gonna go Ganesh.
Oh,
that.
snap. Let's not do that. Okay. My thing was 3 stars, it's pretty good. 2
that's
stars,
better.
you know what, hold up, little doggy.
Yeah.
This little personal Jesus is not so great. 1 star is like, no thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even try to be my personal Jesus.
Did you get all that?
Banan.
Okay.
I think I'm just going to stick with the regular stars.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
it, though.
It's 1 through 4.
Yeah,
4 is
yeah,
good.
yeah. So
1 bad.
I am when I first started listening to it last week, and I thought this is not bad. This is better than I thought it would be. I'm going to give it a 3 star.
3
Rating.
stars.
And I think I've listened to it several times since then, and only a couple of songs have annoyed me.
It's going in your rotation.
Which one
then.
annoyed you?
That's a weird 3-star review.
Yeah, well,
I think you meant to
Only
say
one annoyed
2.5.
me.
2 stars.
Two.
No, I don't
No,
think it was
don't tell me
2.
what you think.
Because I think there are enough good songs on there that I liked it well enough. They make up for 1 or 2 annoying songs.
2.5.
Which ones were the annoying ones to you?
She can rate it the way she wants to rate it.
Maybe 2 and
Me
3
too,
quarters.
Eric. Me too.
Hashtag me too.
You guys need to stop co-opting
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
movement.
Let me explain to your movement to you.
I think what Banan means to say.
Exactly.
Also,
Actually,
so
your
how would
movements.
how should I rate it, guys?
mean to would rate this album.
Yeah, I
as.
think I'll stick with 3.
3 stars.
Oh,
okay,
okay.
Alicia. What do you give Violator?
I will give it 3.75
Wow,
stars.
Ooh, that is a well-rated
think-
album.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. All right, but you
I
were
was
a
very
fan.
happy to re-explore this because it had been a very long time since I listened to this album, and I just was like blown away by it.
Did you have this album?
No, but
No.
I loved these songs and heard them a lot when I was a young one. And
Just a
good
wee
stuff.
blast.
Yes, exactly.
So I think that's interesting because we're
Yeah.
juxtaposing like my brand new listening to it last week and you
Yeah.
having that background.
Juxtaposing.
Yeah,
Oh, well.
our experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think maybe we're coming at it from a different place, but it's not.
Well, I guess I kind of looked at it as how much did these 3 songs contribute to pop culture and how important were those 3 songs? And so that would make me want to give it like a 4. So, but I knocked it down a little because I think there's quite a few songs on here that I never need to hear again.
Especially on the remastered version.
We're not counting the remaster.
That's not what we're reviewing.
Right.
Because
okay.
otherwise,
Strike the record.
Yeah.
Gary,
I'm gonna give it 2.5, maybe 3. I could be talked into 3.
Wow.
you
Yeah.
should do it. You should give it a 3.
Okay, 3. Done.
Gary actually,
Yeah.
I
Uh-oh.
would give it #3 stars.
Okay, nice.
Because I actually think that the ones that aren't singles are pretty good. I enjoy the mood of those.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mistake them for singles.
Yeah. Okay.
But the singles are excellent. I think it's a 3-star album.
All right. Excellent. That was Violator.
Well, you guys hang in there.
I'll try.
Listeners, we are gonna no, you guests are gonna be here, but the
all
listeners, you guys hang in there. We're gonna be back in just a second with the second half of our show, where we're gonna be talking about Garry
Mr. Marshall's
our friend Gary,
Mr. Marshall.
Pretty Woman.
Welcome to Hollywood. Everybody comes to Hollywood, got a dream. What's your dream?
When I was a little girl, I would pretend I was a princess trapped in the tower, and then this knight on a white horse would come charging up and rescue me.
Could you tell me how to get to Beverly Hills?
Sure, for $5.
You can't charge me for directions.
I can do anything I want to, baby. I ain't lost.
All right, okay. You change for 20?
For 20, I'll show you person. Wow.
Impressed?
You kidding me? I come here all the time. Well, color me happy. There's a sofa in here for 2. Close your mouth, dear.
What is this girl? Does she work? She's in sales.
Touchstone Pictures presents the story of a
This
date
isn't a date, it's business.
that led to a deal.
I have a business proposition for you. I'm going to be in town until Sunday. I'd like you to spend the week with me.
That's becoming a dream come true.
Time to shop.
Hey, welcome back to my Sickle Podcast. I'm Eric Speigel.
I'm Gary Lenton, and we're joined by
Nannied.
Anne.
Alicia Speigel.
Thanks for
Are
being
you guys
here.
related?
He's my brother.
She's a friend of the show.
He's my
We just
dad.
got done finished talking about Depeche Mode's Violator. We're going to move on to talk about a movie that was released the same week that Violator came out.
Garry Marshall's
Please, Mr. Marshall.
Pretty Woman.
And to set the stage, I am going to tell you about what movies were out the same week that Pretty Woman came out. Number 10, Hard to Kill.
That
Is
would
it a
be
James Bond?
Steven Seagal is
Steven Seagal, Hard to Kill.
Hard to Kill.
That's too bad.
His wife, Kelly LeBrock, is the love interest in that one. And the thing I remember
Wait,
about...
Steven Seagal's wife?
Yeah.
Or she's the
Seems like it'd be
actress?
easy to kill him if you lived with him.
Yeah.
Kelly LeBrock
Burn.
is the love interest in Hard to Kill.
But,
That's Steven Seagal's actual real-life
oh,
wife.
okay.
I don't know who
At the
Kelly
time,
LeBrock is. I know
She's
he's
the
a
lady in Weird Science.
Weird Science, yeah.
I never
And
watched
she
that.
was on
Oh, and the
hair
Lady in
commercials. She was like,
Lady
don't
in
hate
Red.
me because I'm beautiful.
That's right.
She
and I
is
hated her.
beautiful.
She
Now
was
I
beautiful.
remember.
That's why I hated her.
There was a thing in the
not
beginning
to.
of that where there was a guy trying to rob a convenience store, and Steven Seagal took them on his knees.
Oh,
Why?
nice.
Why was
Are they
he on his
still
knees?
married?
No.
Okay.
Why was he on his knees? That's ridiculous.
He was trying to show him what's what.
Yeah, and he did. He's hard to kill.
Yeah.
Number 9. Born on the 4th of July.
Never did see that.
No.
I saw it like in the last couple of years.
He was on
Really?
his knees
Did
also.
you watch it on the 4th of July?
No, that's a shame. I should have done that. But I liked it. It was so good,
Yeah.
and it just Tom Cruise is an actor I don't want to love, and yet
But you think he's pretty good.
I think he's pretty good.
He can be.
He's
He can be
very
really
good in
Yeah.
that movie.
He can be
I
really
mean,
Oh, in that movie, but then in other movies, like he
yeah.
sometimes elevates.
he's like
them.
an actor
That's
robot.
true.
He's just so good at being an actor. He's got no other skills, but in a movie, he's great.
Yeah.
Outside of being in a movie, he's got very little to offer, it turns out.
I saw him recently on. There's a show called The Graham Norton Show. It's like a British talk show, and he was on there, and he was actually sort of charming. Maybe his most charming.
He might be a psychopath, though.
He
Yeah,
probably
he
is.
was. He's a psychopath.
Yeah, they're drawn to
I wouldn't be
Scientology.
Number 8.
Oh, yeah.
Bad Influence.
I've never seen
What is
that, but
that
I would
one?
like to watch that for the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
'Cause
gonna
that
say, don't
was
you guys
the
watch a lot of
one-
90s movies?
We do.
That was the one that came out in the wake of the Rob Lowe sex scandal. If you remember the videotape of him with the underage girl,
Is that the one with
And
the
then-
guy from The Practice or something?
James Spader.
Yeah.
And that came out and flopped because it was this huge sex scandal. But now we all just are okay with
Oh,
Rob
nobody
Lowe.
would care now.
Nobody would. Nope.
Yeah.
Well,
Number-
no, sex scandals are back. I don't know if you guys have heard.
Harvey Weinstein.
Who's he?
Have you heard about him? Number 7. Blue Steel.
Ooh.
It's a movie about Zoolander's
Yes,
book.
that's
Oh,
yes.
I was
Yeah.
picturing
Steve.
actual...
Owen Wilson and
No, that's
Ben
what's his
Stiller.
name?
Ron
Jamie Lee Curtis. is
Rob
in it.
Ron Jeremy?
Ron Livingston? The bad guy
Sex
from
Smith?
Time Cop.
Oh,
Ron
Silver.
Silver.
Ron Silver.
Yeah, he's in Blue
Yeah.
I know who that
Steel.
is.
And that's
Watch
the
that
director
podcast.
of
Someone watch Blue Steel.
0 Dark 30 and The Hurt Locker.
Oh,
Catherine
yeah.
Bigelow?
Catherine
Yeah,
Bigelow
Bigelow.
made Blue Steel.
Do
Oh.
you think she
number
wanted to, or you think
6.
she had?
I think she wanted to. It's Jamie Lee.
It's an LA cop movie starring Jamie Lee Curtis. I think she was down.
I don't remember that at all.
Number 6. Lord of the Flies.
Oh, that
I
was
never
the
watched
remake.
that.
Yeah, that was.
I remember we watched
had
it.
to
Is that the one
watch
with
it
both are gay?
in high school because we.
So
Could
I
you
want to
read the
I have a little bit of an anecdote about that one. If
All
you
right.
give me a
Yes.
second.
It's
So
1 second.
the main paper in St. Louis was the Post-Dispatch throughout
Still is.
most of our childhood. Still is.
I've
but
always
there was
been a Globe
time
Democrat guy.
in the late 80s,
When you were
early,
like 5.
Yeah.
late 80s, early 90s, where
The
there was
Sun?
another paper that tried to make it. It was called the St. Louis Sun.
What?
And
I don't believe you.
they
No, it's
had,
true. I
Chicago.
can vouch.
They had free subscriptions for a while
Mm-hmm.
to try to get you hooked.
Hey, you can't just give it away.
And I
We're
remember
like drug dealers.
Kind of like Pretty Woman.
Yeah.
on Friday, the Friday that this Lord of the Rings came out,
Lord of the Flies.
We got yeah,
He did
Lord of
say
the
Lord of the
Flies.
Rings.
Lord of the Flies. This Lord of the Flies came out. We got a
Different
free
British.
St. Louis Sun, and I remember sitting at my kitchen table reading the review for that Friday.
Do you remember what they said?
They thought it was a bloodier version, like remake of the old one with less intellect. 2 out of 4
good.
stars.
I'm impressed that you actually
I
remembered.
was 12 and I read that.
Yeah.
I also
Number
remember
5.
their review of Cliffhanger. They didn't think much about Cliffhanger.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's acceptable.
Number 5 was House Party. Kid and Plays.
Yes.
With the hair.
I remember
The
that.
hair.
I have a patient with a fade
Uh-huh.
that is like pretty tall.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
And I showed him
Did you get
Kid
a
and
selfie with him?
I showed him Kid and Play, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't know what that is."
Yeah.
Oh, we're so
just Cure me,
old.
doctor.
Well,
They're so young.
Number 4, Driving Miss Daisy.
I
never
was
seen
about
that
to take
either.
you to the stove, Miss Daisy.
That's right.
Is that Morgan
Slow down.
Freeman?
That's supposed to be.
Yep. Number 3 is Joe versus the Volcano.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yep.
I
That's a
saw
great
back in the
movie.
day.
I
Good
barely
one.
remember that.
That's
Well,
a
there's a
stone
storm
cloud.
cold
Storm cloud.
masterpiece.
There's a volcano.
Here's your
There's
brain.
Meg Ryan.
It's got
Is
a
it Tom
storm
Hanks and
cloud.
Meg Ryan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 2, The Hunt for Red October.
The hunt is on.
I never saw that either.
I've never seen that one, but I
What
know
is
about
going
it.
on
That's
with
a
my
good
childhood?
movie.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But
Thanks,
we were like
Mom.
12,
There's
11.
You know,
Little.
that's our friend Brooks Keeshan's favorite movie.
Still?
Yeah,
Submarine.
he still watches
I'm
it.
not really afraid of submarines. To watch movies with submarines kind
Yeah.
of freaks me out.
You're not on one when you watch the
I
movie.
feel
Or
like
in
I'm
one.
in one right now.
And
should
the
not
number
be
1
on
movie
one.
was Pretty Woman.
Yay!
The movie we're talking about tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall.
Yeah, please call me Gary.
Hey, Gary, thank you. They call
So,
you Mr. Marshall?
we like
Give
to
us your
introduce the film of the night with either ors. This movie was based on a screenplay called 3000. It was a dark drama about a prostitute who gets bought for a week by a rich guy,
Sounds familiar.
$3,000. At the end, he kicks her out of his car and drives away.
She was also a drug addict?
She was a cocaine addict.
Okay.
And part of the
come on.
stipulation of the
Be
week...
specific.
Cocaine.
You're right. You're right. Yes, and Banan. Part of what
Oh, I
happened
know.
is that there was a little bit of meddling by Disney to make it a little happier. There was a little bit of editing out the darkest parts, and a little bit of the fact that Julia Roberts.
Isn't that what Leaving Las Vegas is, kind of? Isn't she a
No.
prostitute?
She is a prostitute.
She is a prostitute.
Yeah, but
Oh, he
he's a
doesn't kick her
suicidal
out, though.
alcoholic.
All right, carry on.
Um,
That one's really
Carry
Disney.
on my wayward son.
It's a long either or.
Yeah.
I'm not to it yet, Gary.
Ouch.
Oh, where
Okay.
were you just
Go
now?
ahead, go
Keep
ahead, I'm
going, yeah.
sorry.
Sorry.
So this was this dark drama that they optioned.
Why did
Who wrote
Disney
it?
even option it?
By the time that it became a movie starring these two people and directed by Garry Marshall, they had so much chemistry that they changed almost everything about the second
Wait,
half
did
of
they
the
get
movie.
married or something in real life?
No, but in
No.
another movie they did.
Oh, okay.
No, she ran
No,
away.
she ran away.
But
she
then
had
she
those
came
tennis
back.
shoes.
Richard Gere in
Yeah,
that one? Okay,
yeah.
sorry. I'm not all
Either.
up on the Julia Roberts, sorry.
Anyway, they ended up changing so much of it that it became unrecognizable from
Sure.
the original
Sure.
screenplay.
And
And they
thank
tacked on
God.
the
I don't know. I might like to see that movie.
roses
3000.
and fire escape thing, which was like way late added
Wait, so did
just
they actually
because.
film him like kicking her out?
No, I don't think
Okay.
that actually
No,
happened.
but
They
the
changed
cocaine stuff lived through filming, but was cut out. Those
It turned
deleted
into dental
scenes are
floss.
apparently on the extended edition if you
I
want to
don't
watch
believe
it.
Oh, I want to.
There's like a part where he has to defend her from a cocaine dealer or whatever.
Interesting.
I've seen a deleted that deleted scene maybe, and I think that they go into a club. We're getting ahead of ourselves, but she is actually still meeting up with Kit, and he's outside in the limo. And when she comes out, he has his limo driver Daryl he has a gun. Is this the one you're talking about?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't think I don't think he's defending her, and I don't think she's going in there for drugs.
Okay.
Anyway,
So it's a
I'm just saying
remnant
you're
from
wrong.
the original screenplay, but it's still neutered.
Okay.
Is what you're saying. So anyway, what they came up with, guests, either is better or worse than
Well,
what the original screenplay was
That's
trying
a
to
hard
say.
either or because
Would you
The
would you
first movie
either
was never
rather
made.
watch
Discussion.
Pretty Woman or watch 3000?
dude, that's better.
Yeah, I
Nope. Guess first, ladies first.
would rather watch Pretty Woman, and I actually think that they would have kept 3000 the title, except that they finally got the rights for the song Pretty Woman, and that was why they changed it.
I heard that
3,000.
Disney thought it sounded like a science fiction movie.
It is a
Isn't there
dumb
that
title.
3,000 Leagues Under the Sea?
I think it's
It's like
about
$3,000.
like an army of Persians.
Prince of Persia,
Yeah.
starring
I
Jake
think that was
Gyllenhaal.
300
Isn't there a movie
times
called
10.
300?
Oh, yeah, that's it. This is Sparta.
I
Exactly,
am
yes.
Julia Roberts.
That's right.
I would have liked to have watched
She's looked
that
good in those
movie.
gladiator sandals.
Yeah.
Yep. Or as good as the team that does those disaster movies where they just
Emmerich and Devlin.
no, like the parodies.
Disaster movie.
Disaster movie. Yeah.
Okay, you'd rather watch Pretty Woman. Why?
I like this version much better than what you just described. That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alicia?
Also that. Yeah. Go ahead, Alicia.
No. Yeah, I guess I'm very curious about the other one because I tend to like kind of dark stuff, and I don't think the movie we watched is a good movie. I have.
snap.
I know. Sorry, Gary. I know you really liked it,
Yeah, well, it's my favorite movie of all time.
and I know it's Valentine's Day.
Exactly.
Well,
That's why
not
we're
quite.
watching it.
You're okay. We still have 2 hours.
Okay, so I can be mean to Gary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about the kicking her out of the car part. I might not have liked that part. Kicking.
It does
her.
make me curious about the film.
But I'm interested in that movie.
It's obviously a very different screenplay.
Right.
It is
and
very surprising that it went so differently.
It's kind of ridiculous that it's this love story, and the fact that we know its origins makes more sense about like, okay, that's where it came from, and the screenwriter didn't intentionally set out to be like, oh look, it's a prostitute and he saves her. You know, it was that his original intention was to be dark and gritty. Because the movie that we end up with is kind of like, that's not true or anything. That doesn't happen in real life. You know, this prostitute with a heart of gold who's great and looks like Julia Roberts. And Richard Gere comes and picks her up, and she just needed some money and she can get her life together. Mm-hmm. So it makes more sense that it started out as that movie.
What do you like about the movie, Banan?
I like everything about that movie. I totally agree that the story is like, the premise is like fantastical. It's like a fantasy, but
a fairy tale, if
a
you
fairy
will.
tale, like a Cinderella story.
But she
Cinderella.
shouldn't.
Can we
Yeah.
cuss? Can we curse on this?
Yeah.
Cinda Fork-and-rella. But I think the actors make it work. I kind of kept writing lines down. I think even the minor characters are like, Kit is adorable. I think she's adorable. Like, she just has these.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. I think she's. And I get that they are. But I don't know. It works for me. Like, I rewatch this movie. It comes on a lot on TV.
Oh, yeah.
And it's always like the clean version.
Mm-hmm.
But I watch this on Amazon, so it's a little bit.
It doesn't
I mean, it
take
doesn't
much. I
to
think
be
No,
a clean version, yeah.
No, it doesn't take much.
think
There's not
it's
too
No,
many.
because I wrote that down.
Inexplicably
Why
R.
is this rated R? Like, it doesn't even.
Yeah.
Like, there's an F word if you notice when the.
Yep.
There are a couple of F words, and then there's a scene where you can kind of see a little bit of Julia
nip.
Roberts. Yeah.
That was not even on
My
my list.
grandparents.
You could not see any.
My
The
grandparents
headboard.
You
used
looked really
to
careful.
do a
I
thing
was.
where they
I
would rent a
paused.
movie, and they had 2 VCRs, so they would tape the movie to the movies. They would have the
Your
movie
grandparents
they rented.
ruined it so that then they made
And then-
tapes you weren't able to do that with anymore.
I would go downstairs and watch Pretty Woman, like, this is a
You told me you never saw it before.
naked movie about prostitutes, but I would only watch it like 10
How
minutes at a
disappointed
You
time.
only
were
watched
you?
the sex scenes?
So disappointing. I like fast forward. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Why is this movie rated R?
Yeah. I get what you're saying, Banan. Like, watching it last night, I totally know that it's not a good movie, and there's plenty of things to be ashamed of as far as like what it says and what the story really is. But I saw it, like, not at the theater, but I think I was pretty young. I think I saw it pretty much as soon as you could see it at home. And my mom let me watch it, and I don't know. It just had a soft. I have a soft spot for it because I watched it several times when I was little, and they do I'm a sucker for a romance, but I really believe that they liked each other.
I do too.
Julia Roberts and Richard Gere are very likable in this movie, so there's nothing wrong with liking it. I mean, it was the #1 movie. It was a huge hit.
It's still the biggest
prostitute-based movie.
No, of romantic comedies. It sold more tickets than any movie ever released. Still.
Huh.
It's pretty popular.
Based on ticket price.
Yeah. Ticket price.
And I would say...
And the tickets were a little... because it was in 3D, so you had to pay more to get the 3D experience.
Yeah.
Back in 1990.
You got those leather thigh-high boots.
They're coming right at it,
Safety pins coming towards you.
Yeah.
I feel like watching it...
Glad he's eating on the podcast, everyone.
2018.
I tried to take that muffin away from him. Sorry.
They're so good, though.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Watching it now, I feel like Julia Roberts really does come across.
I looked that up. She was 23 when she made this movie.
No, she was 21 or something.
Well, 23 when it came out then.
21 when she was in it.
Gosh, I didn't realize
because
she was
when
that
and then
she
he was
made
like
it...
41, 42?
She was 67, so, yeah.
Whenever she made this movie, she had already made Steel Magnolias, but it hadn't come out yet.
And Mystic Pizza.
Mystic
That
Pizza
had
had
come
come
out.
out,
Yeah.
What
But-
about that Sleeping with the Enemy?
That was
later.
because of this. All the bad movies are because of this. But
Which is a good movie.
I mean...
no, it's a terrible movie.
It's not.
Unwatchable trash.
Oh, no, it's not. The characters are very likable.
No, Richard Gere is a horrible person.
He's
in
not a
this
good...
movie.
You're right. He's
horrible,
not a great
horrible
person. But
you know who he is in this movie? Donald Trump Jr.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Because he didn't like it when his lawyer was trying to rape Julia Roberts.
If Donald Trump Jr. didn't like his dad and didn't support him, he'd be this guy, and he'd be super rich because of his dad, and he'd be hiring a prostitute for a week, and just because he was kind of nice to her, we're supposed to think he's a good guy. He's a total bastard. There's no way I can get behind this guy.
He grew. He changed.
Into what? A guy who is a little bit nicer to prostitutes?
Yeah.
He went from...
No, he decided to
98 minutes into the movie, he wants to have a prostitute that lives in LA in a condo that he pays for. 10 minutes later, he's like, no, actually, I'll pay you and buy you roses and you can be my girlfriend. But 5 minutes later, he could be like, well, whatever.
Well, he had to get to that point. At the beginning of the movie, he had a girlfriend who was living in New York, and when he broke up with her, he was like, fine, just leave.
That's what you have to do.
That's what you have to do, just go. That's how cold and heartless he was at the beginning.
Right, but then he had to buy some sex on top of a piano.
He just wanted directions.
To grow. So he paid $3,000 for two intercourses and a blowjob, and we're supposed to think that's romantic. It's the most disgusting screenplay of all time to try to trick us into thinking there's something romantic happening. It's like you said, Gary.
Well,
at the beginning,
she makes you think that she likes him.
There's also a musical clothing fashion montage, okay?
Right.
Okay, that was fantastic. And
That was
then
awful.
you get a great scene afterwards. No, that was great. And then you get a wonderful, perfect scene for any little girl that's watching it at 12 years old when they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Where she goes in and she
Mommy,
tells
I
those
wanna be a
mean
prostitute.
sales ladies that they made a huge mistake by denying her access to their store and denying her humanity.
I fucked a guy that's going to
No.
give me a credit card and I can buy
No,
whatever
because
I
she's
want.
a good
I'm
person
not
regardless of whether she's
I'm
a
not
sex
just
worker
a
or
prostitute.
not.
I'm an extremely successful prostitute. Deal with that, ladies.
She
I got
wasn't-
this gold
I didn't
card.
like her telling
It's
off
gross.
those ladies.
It's
You did
disgusting to me
No.
that part is supposed to
Why
make
is she
us feel
better
good.
now?
He
I
had
mean, they're
sex
all
with her
volleyball
on a
though.
piano.
She was good to begin with.
yeah.
They just
Yeah.
looked at her
So
and
she
judged her
gets a
based on
credit
clothing.
card.
I know.
You and your Puritan ways.
It's all about how rich people are better than poor people.
Yep.
And then if poor people would
Check.
just meet a rich person, then they could enter in the magical world of buying stuff on Rodeo Drive and going to the opera, and then they might have an idea about what the real world is like. And rich people are just able to transform these horrible poor people into real people by their money.
She didn't change.
Disgusting. It's the most disgusting message of like, just here's some money. You can somehow transform yourself into a disgusting prostitute, into a real woman.
And yet,
here's a credit card.
A pretty woman.
Yeah.
She was already a pretty woman. She was already okay, she was the good... You said this. She is a likable character from the beginning, right?
She's a likable actress.
And then by the end, he is the one that's actually changed. So if anything, with
how?
So how? Okay, so he, just one example is that girlfriend remark. He actually finds a way to love somebody else, or at least like somebody else. He
doesn't buy the company and tear it apart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know, he takes a day off of work. He never did that before.
Takes his socks off. And
Jason Alexander was all like, I'm getting angry over here.
I'm playing this tiny little pool table.
Exactly.
I have nothing to do when Richard Gere's gone.
I'm so bored. And all I got is this tiny pool.
And regardless of whether he had money or not, beginning, I see your point.
That's the problem.
Yeah, I actually see your point but this was also kind of like the so the movie
Gere.
at the time, or the time, like that time feels like it's very of the time.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, if this movie was made now, I would feel uncomfortable.
You
with
couldn't
some
make
of
it
these.
now because he would have GPS.
He would have GPS,
and
that movie would have been 10 minutes long.
That's right.
Yeah, but he could still buy a woman and make her feel like it was romantic that he bought her.
Yeah.
And that's what happens in this movie. He buys a woman explicitly, and then it turns into an implicit buying of her, and she goes along with it like it's romantic. Like, he's a super rich guy, and that is held up as the most romantic thing there could ever be, is a romantic, like,
she could
guy
have left,
that's
though.
sort of quiet. No, she doesn't want to leave because she wants money.
No,
money is what she's after.
Which is what he money on the bed when he tries to pay her.
Yeah, when she decides to leave.
She left the $3,000 on the bed, but she came back for the $3 million. Like, he bought her in the end with his money.
No, she was leaving.
He took her to the opera. He drove her.
She still left him. She still chose to leave. In the end, he said, "Stay with me. These are my conditions. These are my terms. Stay with me." And she's like, "No, that's not what I want."
She doesn't want to be in a condo kept woman. She wants the whole shebang. She wants to be Melania Trump, not some like porn star that gets bought off.
I want to be your actual girlfriend.
Stormy Daniels.
Yeah. She wants to be Melania, not Stormy. That's not romantic. Melania Trump is not romantic. He's super rich. He's going to buy her off.
We're supposed to think he really cares about her, and that's the whole difference.
Well, is it because he sits around blinking? I don't understand what it is about him that is a romantic figure.
It's not a deep movie.
Yeah,
he's a horrible guy.
This is too much. It's Pretty Woman. It's like, just chill. It's Cinderella. It's just a fantasy. Relax, Eric.
No, I disagree. I feel like this, if I ever let my daughter watch this movie, just slit my throat. The message it's sending is that women are for sale, and not only are they for sale,
she's gonna watch
if you're nice enough when you buy a woman with money, which is the most romantic thing in the world, because you can buy clothes, you can buy a nice hotel room, you can buy an opera, and that's the most romantic thing in the world is money.
Yeah,
and when I buy you, you had better be nice, because I was nice to you, and you just stick by my side, and that's love.
When did he say
this
you better
movie
be nice?
Is disgusting. I think it's the most gross thing, because it started off as this screenplay of like, we conflate romance with capitalism, and that's a disgusting thing, and it ain't gonna work out.
Right.
But they didn't want to make money off this movie,
Why
so they
did
had to have a
Disney make
fake
this movie.
They'd have a fake
Yeah.
happy ending, which ends up being like the most obvious. Like it ends up being like, okay, yeah, this is it. Capitalism has to be ridiculous, and everybody will just swallow it. I think that if she hadn't been, this is the Stars Born movie for Julia Roberts. If she hadn't been so amazingly engaging and wonderful, and just you can't take your eyes off of her in the movie, they could have never sold this to anyone. Richard Gere is basically sleepwalking through the movie. She's electric. She's so beautiful and wonderful. Like, okay, I'll just watch her do whatever. But like, the message is despicable.
I mostly agree with you. Like, I thought it was really gross when he, like, hired a jet to take her to the opera. Like, I mean, that does not do it for me. But I guess I did end up believing that he was doing that because he liked her, and that's all he knew how to do.
Yeah, he didn't have to take her to the opera. There wasn't any reason for it. The reason he had bought her was to
make the business dinner go better.
Yeah, make the business dinner. And then he didn't even eat. I mean, so... But the underlining of this movie is also, we haven't talked about Pygmalion is the inspiration.
The idea of the ingenue.
Well, right.
The unformed innocent that needs the man to mold her into a real person. My Fair Lady.
My Fair Lady.
Pygmalion. Yeah. So he molds her into a real person by buying her a bunch of shit.
Right. The problem is the money.
It's money. Money is the romance here. He's a cipher with money.
Yeah, I actually see her as the real person from the beginning, and money helps enhance to him some of her, I don't want to say better qualities, but like, but he's the one, I think he actually changes more than she does in this movie. Mm-hmm. And I think she, at any point, and they showed this a couple of times, could have chosen. She chose to go with him. I mean, and we could talk about what a sex worker is and how much choice they really have at this point. But like in this movie, she chose to go with him, and she could have chosen to leave.
Mm-hmm. But if she had chosen to leave and go to San Francisco at the end of this movie, which is sort of like the alternate pathway for her, she's like, I'm going to go to school and make something of myself and really find out who I am. But instead, she chooses to be bought by him on the fire escape.
At this point, she's not choosing to be bought by him.
She is.
No. She's not really choosing to be bought. If you take the movie at face value, she's like, look, I want love. He says, I will pay you and put you in the condo and everything like that. And that's where she's like, no. I don't want to be.
So you can't imagine a world where a man says, "I love you, I want you to be my wife," but really the woman is bought and paid for, and she doesn't get to be her own person.
But the movie doesn't say she doesn't.
That is what this movie romanticizes: is a co-opting of the love relationship for a guy that's rich and a woman that's powerless. She has no power at all, and he's super rich.
She does have power over him. He was going to do something else. He was on his way to the airport.
Unless you think power is money.
Her. He overcame his fear of heights for her.
Yeah.
Totally
what about that, Eric?
That.
The heights.
Yeah.
I think the movie thinks that love is money. Money is love. And that's what it comes through again and again and again. When he gives her money, she gives him a blowjob. Whenever he gives her money, she's nice to him.
Worker.
Whenever he sleeps with her on top of the piano, he gives her a credit card so she can buy a bunch of clothes. And we're all supposed to think that this is all so sweet and lovable. It's horrifying.
I don't think.
Sweet,
that's not. You're focusing so much on the money, and I get it.
It's a movie about money.
Well, it was a movie titled $3,000, which, by the way,
it came
is
out
under
of the Go-Go 80s. That's when it was written.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to take place in 87, I read. Even though it came out in 90.
And then she did the whole Arsenio Hall,
which
is
true.
a little...
Although the Prince song would
but
work.
That could still... I mean, it's still...
No, that was
early
It still
enough.
works, yeah.
Maybe
totally
Arsenio
works,
stole it from her.
Yeah,
There it is.
right.
That's it. Yep.
Good stuff.
No, it's not.
No.
I actually liked it more because I've always...
Wow.
Yeah, I've seen it... it's been a long time since I've seen the movie all the way through, because you just get to watch bits and pieces. And I like, because I actually sat down and watched it. And then I watched it like on Amazon Prime. Not the usual cheap way that I watch it, which is free and finding it online.
For $2.99.
No, usually it's free online. That's how I usually do it. So I was...
So it's $2.99 on Prime?
Yeah.
So you paid for it?
I paid for it.
Wow.
And then I got to watch the...
So did we.
Oh, we did?
And I got to you know how they'll have
so
like
did Richard Gere.
Ooh.
Whoa.
You know what, by the way, it was totally, like, I feel like the math was wrong.
Yeah,
like,
I
her
never
forte
figured
was
out, but I don't think that's right.
Because didn't she say $100 an hour? Yeah. And then it went to $300 a night. And then it went to $3,000 for a week. That's just bad.
Well, it's a bargain. It's more. It's like Costco. Yeah. The more you buy, it's more of a deal.
She undervalued herself. I think that's where I find this.
Well, he said he would have paid 4. She would have stayed for 2.
Yeah.
That is the most romantic line in the movie.
I know what I'm writing in your Valentine's card.
Yeah.
No, I feel like in a lot of ways, it's such a weird combination of like just innocent romance, you know, in a lot of scenes, but also like if you can just imagine inserting any romantic movie that you've ever seen, a scene where the romantic lead pays for the other one's affections. Like, it's just, I mean, maybe a cowboy movie this might work, and you might be able to twist it around.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine.
Out in different movies. I mean, maybe not to this extent, but
maybe not
things
literally.
where it's like, you come be my wedding date, and I'll do something for you. You know, I guess that's not.
Except for he pays her $3,000, and the first night she gives him a blowjob for money. Like, that's not romantic,
that's not the same
guys.
thing as a wedding date.
We talk
That's
about
not the romance, though.
we talk
Right,
about those sex workers, and like if you want to make a movie about sex workers, like there's a whole culture of that, and that's
a different
people
type
that
of
are
movie.
Right, but you're co-opting that and then not showing the reality of it. It's like all sex workers just want to be treated a little bit nicer, and then they'll fall in love with you. That's exactly the fantasy that every John wants. Like, this is you think it's a Cinderella fantasy. I think it's a perv fantasy. I think they're driving around looking for a prostitute that's going to fall in love with them because they're going to pay him a little extra money.
Also, he wasn't driving around looking for a prostitute. He was driving around looking for directions.
Right, I know. That's their fantasy too, is that somehow they're not looking for a prostitute.
Yes,
they just happen to meet a prostitute. It's a prostitute John fantasy that somehow I'm going to be so nice and rich that they're going to fall in love with me and not want to be a prostitute anymore, which is not the way it works.
I'm defending this movie way too much because I think you're really being harsh on this movie.
It's a trash movie. I feel like it's
trash movie.
One of the worst movies of all romantic comedy fame ever.
Boo.
And I feel like I'm right in this. Like, how in the Me Too era could anyone like defend this horrible trash movie? I mean, they insert a forcible rapist to take the place of the protagonist rapist who is
She never looked like she was being raped.
Yeah. You're going too far. So
you don't think that a man who buys a woman who doesn't really want to be a sex worker is a little at fault?
Well, I mean,
complicated,
yeah, I think that is a little complicated.
It's complicated, but not addressed.
No, I know what you're saying.
It's just she'll just shed that. No big deal. We'll just get married, and I won't remember when you bought me. You know. That's disgusting. How could that even be a movie? How could anyone think this would be an okay movie to make?
It was 1990.
Yeah. People made a lot of good movies in 1990 that were like a hell of a lot better than this one.
Yeah.
When Harry Met Sally was a year before this, and that's like
88.
A smart movie about romance and sex and stuff. You can do it. I don't know. I think this sends all the wrong messages to both boys and girls under the age of 18 about romance.
Well, that's why it's rated
money,
R,
etc.
There you go.
for 12-year-olds.
Yeah, I mean, we watched it, and
11-year-olds,
I don't buy into their whole
I
premise.
did go try to be a prostitute when I was 13.
I tried to be rich so I could buy a prostitute.
If only you would have asked me for directions. We should
That would
be
have been a
a
real
everything.
meet cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys could have your own children right now.
Yeah.
They'd
Well,
be
not-
so cute.
Yeah, they'd be adorable.
No, I know what you're saying, Eric, but I also feel the other way about it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I really do. I have to suspend that and put it away because I did enjoy this movie. There, I can't help it. It's like a guilty.
I honestly feel like the only reason anyone likes this movie is because Julia Roberts is so awesome in it.
Yeah,
If
she
they'd
is.
have
Take
cast
that out.
anyone else,
And I
everyone
think-
would be
Yeah,
on
I
my
have the
side
nostalgia.
of
I like
this
the
argument.
music.
Yeah.
I like the
By the way,
Roxette song a
did you
lot.
hear?
Yeah.
Yeah, did
Yeah.
you hear how many different actresses or people?
Oh,
So
many.
many.
That
So
before
many.
Julia Roberts was actually cast, there were so many different actresses that either were asked to be
Oh.
like,
Well, and the funny
know
thing
I knew
is,
that.
basically,
Yeah.
they
Perfect for
turned
her.
down 3,000 because there's like it's too dark, it's too this, it's too that, and she said yes to it, but then it ended up being a totally different
Yeah.
movie.
Disney movie.
or they were trying to, like, Winona Ryder wanted to be in it,
She's
but then
too young.
she looked
Jennifer
too young.
Connelly too young. Mary Steenburgen too old.
Yeah.
Oh, but there were so
This one's too young. This one's too old.
You know what I like about high school girls?
Yeah, they say the
just
same
keep
I keep
age.
getting
Oh,
older.
yeah.
and then there were a lot
Spielberg
of actors.
didn't have or not Spielberg, sorry. Scorsese didn't have a problem with the Jodie Foster looking too young.
Well, she was a child prostitute in the film.
I missed that totally. Yeah, that's what Travis Bickle should have just bought. Jodie Foster.
Yeah, if Travis Bickle would have just offered Jodie Foster $3,000 and then taken her 3,000 miles
right.
to Rodeo Drive, it's a double meaning for 3,000.
Exactly.
And then she
could
buys a
have
bunch
something.
of great stuff, tells off a snobby woman, and
My
then he
favorite
just
part.
buys her on a fire
wrong with
escape. Romance.
Instead, he goes ahead and
Romance.
gets a gun and shoots her pimp. It's
And everyone else.
exactly.
Yeah,
that's a
that
good,
would have been an interesting
back to
end to
back.
this movie.
Taxi
Richard
Driver
Gere
and Pretty
shoots
Woman.
Jason Alexander to death in a cab. That's the other thing that bothers me. I wasn't articulating it that well, but I feel like Jason Alexander has to, like, roughly, violently try to rape
He has to be even worse.
Julia Roberts, so that we have somebody who is worse than Richard Gere's character,
Yeah,
who is a despicable cad, but he didn't, like,
I don't think he's
slap
so.
and beat her, so he's better. Like, those are her choices.
He is better.
Donald Trump Jr. or a serial rapist. Like, those are her choices. Otherwise, she can't just be by herself and go to San Francisco and go to school. She has to be with the guy
She
that wants
chose
to
that
buy her.
route.
Yeah, some women choose poorly. Like, that happens. That's not
You should make their
romantic.
Decisions for them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Alicia. I'm saying I should make decisions for everybody.
Just women.
Whenever
Well,
I say sometimes women marry domestic violence people or domestic abusers, I'm saying that they shouldn't choose. I should choose for them. That's what I'm saying.
So, actually, one of my least favorite people in the movie is, besides Jason Alexander's character, is the store manager?
Oh yeah, Larry Miller.
guy?
Oh, I hate
The
that
guy?
guy.
The
And
actor?
The actor.
Oh no, he's great.
No.
He's great.
Yeah.
Stop.
He's a famous 80s comedian.
I hate him.
He
I
was
can't
on
stand
all
him in
kinds of
everything.
stand-up stuff in the 80s.
No, he's just
Now I'm
no.
going to have to IMDb.
He has one of the most famous comedy routines of the late 80s. Is the drinking too much. Have you seen that?
I don't know if
It's
I have.
the-
I can probably.
This
but
is the last time I'm ever going to drink
I don't
routine.
remember it. No,
That's a really good routine.
check it out.
He's a good
No.
stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
No.
I liked it whenever he's like, more
Larry
sucking
Miller.
up.
It's a
And he's
pretty
like,
normal name.
you're a very handsome
Yeah.
man.
I knew that when you walked in, you were not only something, but something.
And he's like, too her.
That scene was so hard to watch, where Richard Gere's being such a jerk.
Yeah.
The whole movie's hard to watch.
I think we should rate it. You got a
0.
rating system?
0 stars.
I cannot believe of all the movies in the world, this is the one that you give a 0.
Yeah, you got to give it at least a 1 star.
I think you have to give it a 1, right?
Julia Roberts alone.
No, the message transcends the what happens on the screen.
Okay,
it's horrible.
And
It's like
Marshall's
yeah,
direction.
Lili Riefenstahl was a great cinematographer. However, like that's what I think about Pretty Woman.
All right.
I think the message is so disgusting and despicable.
So. Yeah, 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, 1 star.
You're disgusting and despicable.
Whoa!
Sorry, I meant to say that before you.
No, that's okay.
Wow, can we talk about Violator again so these guys like each other?
No, that's all right.
I like Eric.
Banan, what are you giving Pretty Woman? Has it knocked you down?
No. I'm gonna give it a defiant 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It sounded like you were gonna go 4 stars at first.
No, I feel like I over defended it because you hated it so much.
Well, this is the way that I felt about Jerry Maguire with
Nick.
Cap.
The captain.
Yeah.
So
What's
it's
his
okay.
real name?
Oh, we're not supposed to say his real name.
You can say his real name, Nick Diggler. Alicia. Yeah. What are you gonna give Pretty Woman?
I'm gonna give it a 2.
Yeah, I'm giving it 2 stars.
It still has
also.
a nostalgia aspect to it, but it's not. It's not a good movie.
I mean, the message itself is, everything Eric says. But, I mean, Garry Marshall is a tour de force director. And he really throws it all up there on the screen.
He really brings home the Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, New Year's Day virtuosity here.
He didn't do the virtuosity, did he?
No, I'm saying the virtuosity that he shows in New Year's Day, Mother's Day, and Valentine's Day is really sort of on display here in the Hector Elizondo portions.
Well,
it's for sure.
I think we should all go on a shopping trip.
We should, and
all
try
buy hats.
and try on dresses.
Lots of hats.
As long as there's good music playing in the background.
Yep.
And have some snails.
Fashion montage.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
What did you give it, Gary?
2 stars also. I was all... Alicia said 2 stars, and I was like, same. Same. 2 stars.
Are you sticking with your 0 stars?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Thanks for listening
to
another episode of
No
My
one
So-Called
should watch
Podcast.
this movie ever. Don't show this to your
Julia
children.
Roberts' mom should watch
I've been
it.
Gary Linton.
Yeah. Richard Gere should watch it. I'll be like, when I was young and hot.
Trying to end the show.
I remember I was young and hot.
Thanks for listening. I've been Gary Linton.
I'm Banan Eat Still.
Alicia Speigel.
I'm Eric Speigel. We're on the internet.
Yes, at mysocalledpodcast.com.
Rate us in the iTunes.
Apple Podcast.
The Apple Podcasts. We're on the Twitter. We're on the Facebook.
Yep.
We're not on the Snapchat.
No.
Don't look for us there.
Especially
we will be back in 2 weeks with another 90s visitation.
100th